welcome back to the channel. I'm Pete from It's a Cruise Life, and today we are visiting Rochester in Kent. Now, we don't often get the opportunity to cruise as often as we like, but today we had the opportunity to sail from Southend to Rochester on a historic trip.
Today we sail down the River Medway. The river flows through several key towns in Kent, each with its own historical and cultural significance. We sail past Chatham, which is famous for its naval dockyard, as we head toward Rochester, which is famous for its Norman castle, cathedral, and Charles Dickens connections.
The Medway River itself is steeped in history. In 1667, the Dutch fleet sailed up the River Medway and caused one of the most dramatic naval defeats in British history.
On our right is Grain Fort, a former artillery fort located just east of the village of Grain. Fort Darnat is a 19th century military installation that formed part of the defences of Chatham Naval Dockyard. The forts were never used in anger and were decommissioned before the First World War.
These forts were put in place after that humiliating defeat in 1667.
The King's North Coal Jetty. This long-reach jetty was 1,000 feet long, situated adjacent to the power station in the Medway estuary. The jetty ceased operations with the closure of the power station in 2013. Upnor Castle was built in the 16th century to protect Queen Elizabeth's warships at Chatham. This riverside fortress played a key role during the 1667 Dutch raid. Despite its strategic location, it failed to stop the Dutch fleet. When the Romans arrived in 43 AD, they established this settlement, which became a vital crossing point from London to Dover. The Romans built a bridge and later fortified the town. Remnants of Roman structures and street patterns still influence Rochester's layout today. After the Romans left, Rochester became part of the Kingdom of Kent. In 604 AD, Justus, a missionary sent by Augustine of Canterbury, founded Rochester Cathedral, making it the second oldest in England. The town suffered Viking raids in the 9th century, but was defended successfully by King Alfred the Great in 884 AD. Following the Norman conquest, Bishop Gundulf built Rochester Castle and rebuilt the cathedral.
Should we have a little wander, or should we do the castle first? What do you want to do? We'll do the castle first.
I suppose so.
Founded in 604 AD by St. Justus, one of the missionaries sent by Pope Gregory the Great to convert the Anglo-Saxons. The original structure of this cathedral was a modest Romanesque church, but it was rebuilt and expanded multiple times over the centuries. The current structure is a blend of Norman and Gothic architecture with a stunning west front that remains largely unchanged since the 12th century. Gundulf's Tower, part of the original Norman construction, still stands and is named after the bishop who built it. The cathedral was a major pilgrimage site, especially for the shrine of St. William of Perth, a Scottish saint murdered en route to Canterbury around the year 1201. The cathedral has suffered turbulent times. In 1215, during the siege of Rochester Castle, King John's forces looted the cathedral. In 1264, it was desecrated again by Simon de Montfort's troops, who used parts of the cathedral as a stables. By the 1800s, the cathedral had fallen into disrepair. It was restored in 1880 by Sir George Gilbert Scott, a leading Victorian architect. Rochester Castle, perched on the east bank of the River Medway in Kent, is one of England's finest examples of Norman military architecture. Its origins trace back to the aftermath of the Norman conquest. The castle was primarily built to control the strategic Medway River crossing and defend against potential invasions. The castle's location on the River Medway, a major waterway, made it a crucial point for controlling access to London and the surrounding region. In 1087, Gundulf, Bishop of Rochester, began construction of the stone castle under orders from William Rufus. Gundulf also helped build the Tower of London. The castle's layout is dominated by its towering Norman keep, surrounded by remnants of curtain walls and towers. It's 125 feet in height, with 4 floors, including a basement. In the 13th and 14th centuries, repairs and additions were made, including new towers and chambers. The castle saw further action during the Second Barons' War in 1264. The view of the cathedral from the castle is particularly impressive. In 1215, the castle endured a famous siege by King John during the First Barons' War. Siege warfare in the Middle Ages often involved undermining enemy defences by digging tunnels or mines. Pig fat, along with other materials, was used to set fire to these tunnels, weakening the walls and structures above. During the siege of Rochester Castle in 1215, King John's forces requested 40 of the fattest pigs, the sort least good for eating, for this purpose. The pig fat was used to burn through the mine shaft under the castle's tower, leading to its collapse. From the top of Rochester Castle, the views are nothing short of spectacular, offering a commanding panorama of the surrounding Kentish landscape and the historic town of Rochester. Just next door, the Rochester Cathedral dominates the skyline with its Romanesque architecture. One of the most striking sights is the meandering River Medway, which flows gracefully past the castle. From the battlements, you can see the river stretching out in both directions, with boats occasionally drifting by, and the Rochester Bridge crossing it. In 1870, Rochester Castle grounds were leased and turned into public gardens, during which the last traces of the medieval gate and drawbridge were demolished. In 1884, Rochester Castle was purchased by the city of Rochester for £6,572. The castle is now managed by English Heritage.
That concludes our trip to Rochester, and I'd say that's a great way to spend a Sunday afternoon. And now we're going to sail back to Southend, which should take about 90 minutes.
The Russian submarine moored near Rochester is known as the U-475 Black Widow. It is a Foxtrot-class Soviet Navy submarine. The sub was decommissioned on the 30th of June 1993. Sold into private ownership, it became a museum ship, first moored at Long's Wharf near the Thames Barrier in London. Relocated to Strood near Rochester in 2004, where it remains today. It sits in a dilapidated state, awaiting restoration. After the Russian invasion of Ukraine, the submarine began flying the Ukrainian national flag as a gesture of support.
If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like, comment and subscribe. And we've got a few other similar videos to this which, focus a bit on British history and culture. So if you enjoyed this, go and check them out.